power to choose is not a mystery. It is your divine right. If there was no one to judge you, would you make different choices? What about trusting your intuition and just going with what you feel? Everyone has the power to make intuitive choices. Get ready to listen, share, and experience the creative you. Now, here are the hosts of The Mystic and the Mystery, intuitive guide and spiritual teacher Beth Perojic, and intuitive coach and spiritual entrepreneur Christine McIver.
Becoming grounded in love. Welcome, everyone. This is Christine. I am your host today, along with my amazing guest, Joanne Del Core, that I'm going to tell you all about. And we're going to have a rockin' great show. So I hope you'll be able to call in and ask a question or post a question over on our Facebook page, and you're going to have a chance to win some amazing prizes. So I am an intuitive coach, spiritual entrepreneur, certified angel card reader, inspirational speaker, and an Access Bars facilitator, and an Akashic Records reader. I coach and inspire individuals and businesses to greater possibilities in their lives. And if you'd like to know more about me and the possibility of working with me, you can find out more at inspiredchoices.ca. So, welcome our wonderful guest today, Joanne Del Core. Today we are going to be learning about becoming grounded in love. Joanne says to be grounded in love is learning to be a witness, to allow and to being willing to see others in their essence without attachment to their quote-unquote noise. Our guest, Joanne, the love bug, is an expert on following the heart and finding the love that each of us holds at our core. Play with us as we paint the possibilities of desires in all areas of life through the stained glass window of love. Joanne is a transition coach, speaker, group facilitator, aka the love bug, recently dubbed as an innovator in emotional development. Joanne is an advocate of emotions and the integral part that they play in personal success. Her work promotes self-mastery, self-empowerment, transformation, and healing. She is a and certified CTI coactive coach, group facilitator, leadership development trainer, energy healer, emotional development consultant, speaker, and founder of Core Coaching and Organic Learning, two uniquely designed programs centered around a mind, body, emotion, heart approach to development. Core Coaching for adults and organic learning for children and youth. She runs a private practice and works with individuals to build knowledge, learning, fluency around the emotional experience. And she is, I am proud to say, my friend. Welcome, Joanne.
Thanks, Christine. You couldn't say love bug enough times, huh?
Just for anybody that's listening, I take that of her. I really do see her that way. So I'm so happy to have you with us, Joanne. And I know our guests, our listeners are in for a wonderful experience with you today. And the way you paint things is just, it's beautiful.
Are you kidding? It's the way that we paint it together. We're rocking.
We do rock. So Joanne and I actually met at our CTI coach training. And both of us were very much deeply in the business world, both coming from the HR background when we started our coaching. And as life would take us, we both went our separate ways and went on our paths, but always were mindful of the other person and connected about 2 years ago. And we're very pleased to learn that both of us had taken it more towards a spiritual aspect within our businesses and really devoted very much around helping people develop themselves from that aspect. So it's been pretty fun.
Hasn't it? We've sort of aligned the way that we work together. I love that we're both connected to the idea of working from the heart place, from the center of everything. And I just love that. I just love it.
So when did this first come about for you, Joanne, that the heart was really the center of all things? I mean, we can say that, but to really feel it in your being, when did that begin for you?
I can't even put a date on it, quite honestly. I think it was just something I've always been connected to, even as a kid. But I really love, and I've always loved love. I do. I just do. And I consider it, I consider myself a little bit of like a love detective in most cases. Like I measure how much it's there, how much it's not there, what degree of it shows up. I'm always curious to see what form it takes in every situation and how much of it penetrates through people and where I can play and where I can co-create with it. It's really a huge, if anything, it's a huge source of inspiration for me. It always has been. I've always expressed myself from a heartfelt place, even through dance as a kid, and, you know, just finding ways to really express myself through that gateway. And I'm pretty, you know, as I worked through things in my own life, I was always very singularly focused and committed to injecting the concept of love or what love is into every conversation, into every relationship I have. Like, really, I work for love. It's truly my boss. It is. It's like the ultimate employer because it inspires me to be better. And, you know, talk about top-notch professional development training. Like, love pushes me right into growth all the time. And it's actually a no-brainer to me that my last name is Del Core, right? Which is translated as from the heart in English. And I just, you know, like how
That's
perfect,
funny.
Right?
So is that the motivator that started you off?
I was born, it called me. I was born into it, right? So I really feel like there's a symbiotic connection between the name that I hold and what I offer into the world. You know, the world of the heart is very sacred and tender, and I'm very connected to that. And so I think we do a beautiful dance together, and it's a life force. It feeds me, I feed it, and I talk about having your finger on the pulse. Honestly, that is the place to be. It's direct connection to everything. You know, it is like CP24 for those of you in Toronto.
So, we have the whole idea of living from the heart and really becoming more of who we are and stepping into the heart. Joanne lives in the heart of Toronto in Ontario, Canada. But you've traveled around the world, have you not, Joanne?
Yeah, I have actually. Wow, that's interesting that you bring that up. Yes. I've lived in Italy, so I was there for 3 years, and I did a lot of traveling there. So I've really been intrigued around the authenticity of people in general and how they live. And that is sort of, it feeds me, and I'm really obsessed with the authenticity of the human heart, and I love the vulnerability of that place. I love it. Mm-hmm.
So you traveled to Italy. You've also traveled to Dubai, correct?
Not yet. Yet. It's on the agenda.
But you have clients in Dubai.
I do. And I have clients in Switzerland, and I've got clients in the United States. I pretty much have a nice sort of international scope right now. My biggest hope is that I bring a lot of, my love is Italy, and I love, my hope is that I actually help to create some change in that place, and I'm sort of really uniquely connected to that country, not just because it's my heritage, but because there is a level of authenticity and aliveness and passionate living that I'm so connected with. So.
Right. So it literally speaks to you in an elevated way to be with Italy.
Right.
You know, I can remember, Joanne, when you and I first met, it was really pretty electrified because we both are we live out loud. The pair of us live out loud. So we immediately saw each other, and that can kind of be oil and vinegar sometimes, but for us it was a wonderful dance. And I can remember looking at you across the room going, okay, she's a little bit of a weird chick.
No, you never told me that.
Okay, well, like, I get really
on air. Take the opportunity to say that publicly, why don't you?
But do you know what the definition of weird was before 1946?
Oh yeah, tell me.
It was spiritual.
Look at that.
Being in your spirit. And that's so you, Joanne. You're in your spirit. You live in your spirit. And when we would get together privately afterwards, I can remember you were just so on fire. And I would say something and you would just come in like a laser bullet. And thankfully I was in the place of curiosity and I didn't,
right,
hey, lady.
But by no means did it come from a place of, I like to trigger, right? So, and that's the passion part of me is really about wanting to catalyze. I'm obsessed with catalyzing because I feel like I'm just sort of a conduit around balance. And so if I feel, and so I'm a clairsentient, so I feel things through my body. And, clearly I was trying to put something into balance when I was with you, clearly. And I'm grateful that you embraced it rather than shut it down.
Ran away. Well, it's wonderful, but I'm kind of curious, Joanne, when you are as passionate as you are and you are so present in the moment with people, it can be overpowering to others. Have you ever found, I mean, especially in your early years of this business, did you ever find that it was overwhelming for some?
Well, if it was, they never said anything to me about it. I mean, I think maybe. I don't recall a particular example of it. I do know that I left the space open enough for feedback from their end, and I asked them for permission around being bold, and I asked them for feedback if that felt okay.
Right.
And more than like 9% of the time, 9 out of 10 times, they were just, they were grateful for the feedback. They were grateful for the boldness. The word boldness is really important for me. For some reason, it's just I don't know. I just bring it. I bring love with boldness, and so I want. So yeah, I think, to answer your question, I really haven't had sort of the hand in my face yet.
Okay. So, and that's not a good thing or a bad thing. It just is a fact, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes
I think people know that. I think when people work with me, they sort of understand that that's what they get with me, and I set that up with them. And I want to play big with people. I don't want to play small. So and it inspires me when I see people wanting big things for themselves and dreaming big. And why can't that be possible? And that requires some bold, sort of laser sharp focus for me as a coach.
It does.
Right?
Absolutely does.
Same with you, right?
Absolutely. Well, we've got lots to cover. Stick around. Joanne is going to be sharing many, many of her insights with us around love and how we can all become grounded in this, both personally, professionally. And we're going to be taking your calls or your questions, and you're going to have a chance to win 3 of our gifts. I'll tell you all about that when we get back. If you'd like to connect live, the number is 1-866-472-5795. We look forward to hearing from you, and we will be back in 2 minutes. Stay tuned.
The Voice America 7th Wave Channel.
Who am I? Why am I here? Where am I going? How do I get there? If you're searching for the answers to these and other spiritual questions, you can look within, and you can tune into The Open Door. Our program will expand your awareness of the teachings of the Ascended Masters, offer you practical tools that promote self-mastery and personal freedom, and provide an unerring pathway for graduating from Earth Schoolroom. The Open Door, with host Tom Schumacher and Terry Kennedy, is broadcast live every Tuesday at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern Time on the Voice America 7th Wave Channel.
Step into the doorway to conscious choice, greater health, and well-being. Attain the balance that you've been seeking. Tune in and turn on 1111 Talk Radio. Feed the mind. Embrace positively. Release the tension. Step out of fear. Host Simran Singh will help you broaden your mind and open your heart toward a greater understanding of how to take charge of your life. 1111 Talk Radio is here every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 4 p.m. Pacific Time on 7th Wave Network. 1111 Talk Radio, because shift happens.
Do you ever ask yourself, why am I here? What is my purpose in life? What do I do next? Life energies are based on the chakras, and this is the foundation of holistic healing. Find the balance in your life by tuning in to Healing Possibilities with your host, Tracy Makarenko. Through engaging guests and Tracy's spiritual guidance, each week we'll explore a different modality of healing designed to help you find peace and wholeness. Listen every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Time on the Voice America 7th Wave channel.
The Voice America 7th Wave channel. Be extraordinary. Be the change.
This is The Mystic and the Mystery with Inspired Intuition hosts Beth Perozic and Christine McIver. To participate in the program today, please call toll-free in North America 1-866-472-5795. That's 1-866-472-5795. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Beth@inspiredintuition.me or Christine@inspiredintuition.me. Now, back to the program.
Hello, everyone. You are listening to Christine McIver from Inspired Choices, and I'm joined by my wonderful guest, Joanne Del Core, the love bug, and we're talking about being grounded in love. I know you love when I say that, Joanne.
I love it, Christine. I just love it. Can't you feel it?
So we're talking about love of the heart, how to operate from a place of love. And interesting that we are now in spring. I mean, spring really, we felt a beautiful blessing of spring, a sprinkling of spring, if you would. Yesterday, especially here in Burlington, I enjoyed going down to the water. I live just a couple minutes from it and just breathing in the sunshine. And this time of year really is the time where many wonderful things from a place of love come forward, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when we think of springtime, we think of baby chicks being born. I always loved when I was growing up and seeing the new calves in the field in the springtime. Mm-hmm. And love is in the air in the spring.
Yeah, there's definitely a sense of renewal for sure with spring.
Right.
Absolutely.
And it's also, with the trees and the flowers and the grass and everything is waking up. So there's an awakening that happens for all of us at this time of year too. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I do. I actually feel that, I feel that when there's an awakening there's an openness to the heart place, and we tend to treat others differently, I think, when we're in the springtime season. I don't know, I kind of feel like there's a little bit more, a heightened sensitivity around honoring each other because we've just been hibernating for so long and sort of been sort of the one-on-one for a bit in the winter seasons, and now spring is really about relating and how beautiful is that, because that's actually the language of the heart. Is relating in relationship with others and other things. Mm-hmm. And, I found out something really interesting about the heart when I was doing some research on it. And I found that the heart, other than pumping blood and giving life to your body, it actually has a job. And its job is to find balance in relationship in all aspects. So with it, you have balance between the mind and the body. You have balance with the self and the other, which is huge. You have balance with light and dark, masculine and feminine, and inner and outer worlds. So with balance comes peace. And who doesn't want peace, right? Love is almost like the gateway to peace, period, full stop.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Joanne, what do you do with your clients or family or friends or whomever who is saying, yeah, Joanne, that's great, but this is going on in my life and this kind of sucks and, I just lost this person or, there's been a struggle at work or I'm struggling in my relationships at home. Where do you start from to help to guide them into a better place?
Right. Well, so those are all sort of really unique circumstances unto themselves. But I want to bucket it under negative emotions because I think that's probably the best way to talk about it. I think that generally we have sort of a challenge around holding on to our sense of unworthiness. And I think that, even if you think about the idea of unworthiness, like if we're just entirely plagued by it, and if we unpack that just a little bit and it's sort of in a sneaky way implies that there is an arbitrator outside of you evaluating you and giving you sort of a passing or a failing grade about how deserving you are of things. So I feel like instead, if we were to remember our nature, our God-like nature, we would remember that we are here to create, that we are here as change agents, all of us. Like Simran said last week, we are masters walking. And if we were to remember that, and once we accept that fully, we have the power to create exactly the reality that we want. We have to stop seeing ourselves through others' eyes and start looking for evidence about how well we're doing.
Right. So we've got the measuring stick out, and we're in our place of loving ourselves only when we measure up to the response or reaction from others outside of ourselves.
Right. And I think that's been a conversation that has been ongoing for quite a while. I mean, everybody talks about social conditioning and all of that kind of stuff, but really I just sort of I bring clients into the space of, okay, let's just forget about that CRAP and not really care. You can say that word. Okay, I can. Great.
Yeah. Let's forget about that crap.
And thanks. That was a relief. And honestly, look at that scenario, that negative scenario, as a catalyst to growth, right? So we live in a contrasting world. I like to bring clients into the space of, okay, this is the negativity that's going on in your life right now. We live in a contrasting world. The world is here to push our buttons. Now let's look into this dark space a little bit to identify what we don't want. But let's not stay there too long, please. Let it inspire us. Let the universe allow its learning style on us. I really feel like the universe gives us a moment to learn through an experiential style. We learn through experience, not through words. That's the sort of the universe's way of teaching us.
Right.
Yes.
So you have them look at that space.
Yes, we look at the space together, and what I'd like to do is actually look at it energetically, because there's a lot of sort of negativity that can sit in your body, and sort of create these behaviors, even subconsciously. So I like to clear away the energy that's creating sort of the negative component to what's going on in that person's life, and then together we work on creating a tool so that we can navigate through scenarios in that person's life again that may show up again. Because let's face it, we live in a physical reality. We're going to have positive, we're going to have negative. So why not include a couple of tools in your tool belt?
Right.
To navigate.
Right. Perfect. So I want you to explain a little bit more of the things that you do, but at this time I want to share with all of our listeners about the amazing prizes that Joanne is gifting to 3 of our callers or participants. So first, she has one-hour emotional reboot session, which is valued at $150. And she is also gifting 2 one-hour emotional code heart wall sessions, each valued at $100. And I know your brilliant work, Joanne, but I'd like you to take just a minute or 2 here to explain what those are. What's the emotional reboot? What's the emotional code heart wall session?
Sure. I'll start with the emotional heart wall. The heart wall stuff is really actually quite crucial to shifting feelings of anxiety, depression, fear. So really, the heart wall is a place where we trap most of our emotions. And so sort of, they say that 11% of the population does not have a heart wall. And the consequence of having a heart wall is really about having sabotaging sort of behaviors in your life. So when you have a heart wall, you are sabotaging your own success. There is difficulty in professional success. You're having a creative blockage. You're also experiencing heaviness, and you might even experience sort of a bit of pain in your shoulders and in your neck. So that's sort of the physical manifestation of a heart wall. So it's incredibly crucial to clear your heart wall if you want to go in a forward moving direction in whatever it is that you're looking at in your life, whether it's a relationship in your life, whether it's a new job, a new career, whether you want to sort of reinvent yourself in some way. It is the crucial place to clear. So I'm happy to offer 2 of those sessions. I think they're incredibly important.
Wow. Listeners are going to be very lucky. Yes. Now tell us about the emotional quote.
Okay, the emotional reboot.
Sorry.
Yeah. It's something I sort of created just recently that came to me as sort of a major inspiration. I was having a lot of clients come to me with things like, I'm feeling fear, I'm feeling a lot of anxiety, and I'm experiencing depression. And I don't want to take a medical approach to this. I really want an alternative, natural approach where I can rely on myself to heal myself through this. So the emotional reboot was a way for me to create high impact with one sort of visit. So a lot of value, big wow factor, and a lot of information for a client. So the client comes in and has a healing session done around the particular issue they're looking at, and then we together create a tool to move forward. So that's the emotional reboot. It's been a really successful session for a lot of people, and I'm so excited to continue to do more of that.
And you can do that virtually. Is that correct, Joanne?
Yeah, it's all virtual. Yes.
It's all virtual work.
It's all virtual work.
So it doesn't matter where anybody's from. They can connect via the phone or Skype. They can have this session with you.
Exactly. And
nice.
Exactly.
How wonderful. Wow. Okay. So when, if you want to connect with Joanne, she's at joannedelcore.com. Oh, I think I'm going to sneeze. Joanne, could you just spell that all out?
Sure. JOANNE. D as in David, ELCORE.com.
Okay, I didn't sneeze, but thank you for doing that.
Oh, great.
See how I just manipulated you there? No, I'm just kidding. I would never do that. I would never do that.
Right.
You know, the wonderful thing about working with Joanne, because I have worked with her, is she is powerful and gentle all at the same time. It's like working with, I think of some childhood characters like the Green Giant, you know, big, powerful man, but he was so soft and gentle to the characters in that show. Joanne, you are very, very much like that. You are powerful, but you hold people gently in this space, and you see them capable of moving forward, and more than capable, brilliant. But you see them before they see themselves. And I know anyone who works with you is going to be blessed in that way. I've read recommendations from other people who have worked with you. And so if you're listening to Joanne and you think she's all brains, no, she's not. She's all heart, driven with a brilliant brain. So
oh, wow. Thank you. That's so sweet of you, really. I mean, I feel like I'm just connecting with, I'm co-creating with the universe. That's what I'm doing. And this is really not about what I facilitate. It's what gets facilitated through me. It really is. And I know you do the same, Christine, so I know that you understand that. I really, I'm thankful for your words around that. I'm just so passionate about people. I love people, and I love seeing them happy, and I love seeing them in their potential and actually seeing them live it. That to me is like music to my ears. And so, you get that sense too, right? I mean, when you work with your clients, right?
Yeah, we both look at, we see the endless possibilities that are available, and before others see it. And some would say, well, we're pretty idealistic. Yeah, we are, because we know that this journey is not supposed to be painful.
Right.
That is not the everlasting message of coming to earth. That is not, a parent would not send a child into something for everlasting pain. Mother, Father, God, the universe did not send us here for that. We chose to come to grow, knowing it was going to be a beautiful dance. And When we can step into that, we really shift the perspective that we have with our experiences, and our choices then become limitless. Right? So, Joanne, I love that we're talking about love. I think it's an area that kind of gets, I love you too. And
right.
It's so powerful. And when we come back from break, we're going to take a break. We're going to talk about being selfish and what that truly means for you and I and in relationship with someone else. What does selfish mean? So if you are listening, you would like to ask Joanne a question or myself, please give us a call at 1-866-472-5795 or jump over to our Facebook page at Inspired Choices Inc. on Facebook or Inspired Intuition and post your question there, and we will read it on the air, and you will be entered into our draw. So stay tuned. We'll be back in just 2 minutes.
This is the Voice America 7th Wave Channel. The Mayan calendar tells us that we will be entering into a 260-day opportunity for us to engage in conscious co-creation with Great Spirit. How will we prepare ourselves for this exciting and unprecedented time in Earth's history? Peter Tung has dedicated over 20 years of his life's work to exploring that which is beyond understanding. Peter will help increase your awareness and education on this enlightening transformation in consciousness. Awakening to Conscious Co-Creation airs live Wednesdays at noon Pacific Time, 3 p.m. Eastern Time on 7th Wave Network.
Being Here with Ariel and Shia Kane is an ordinary person's guide to modern-day enlightenment. This show is an exciting exploration which opens the door to living in the moment. Don't miss Being Here. Tune in every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 noon Eastern with Ariel and Shia Kane, right here on the 7th Wave Network.
Every moment that we live provides us with numerous opportunities to grow more deeply spiritually through our active engagement in positive, concrete ways that can uplift, encourage, and help ourselves and each other. Become a part of Our Sacred Journey with your host, Audrey Katagawa. Our program will include guests who will share their experiences with you to inspire you to help create a peaceful, cooperative present and future, and to explore your creativity and the valuable contributions which you can make. Our Sacred Journey airs live Mondays at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific on 7th Wave.
Be visionary. This is the Voice America 7th Wave Channel.
This is The Mystic and the Mystery with Inspired Intuition hosts Beth Perosic and Christine McIver. To participate in the program today, please call toll-free in North America 1-866-472-5795. That's 1-866-472-5795. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Beth@inspiredintuition.me or Christine @inspiredintuition.me. Now, back to the program.
Back, everyone. So wonderful to have you with us today, whether you're listening live or in the podcast. We are having a wonderful time, and you can learn from this amazing guest that I have today, Joanne Del Core, who is talking to us about love and how we become grounded in love. Joanne, before we went to break, I mentioned I wanted to talk about being selfish. Mm-hmm. And what do you see as being selfish from your perspective as it relates to being grounded in love?
Wow, I think selfishness is key to being grounded in love, quite honestly. It's sort of, I look at love as a way to relate to others. And so when we often confuse relating with relationship, because when two people relate well to each other, they often decide to have a relationship, and so they enter into like a program of agreements, but, in doing so, they may forget that it was really all about simply to relate. And in order to relate, you have to be connected to yourself and to see, and then you're able to see yourself in that other person. So I actually think it's crucial to be selfish when you're relating to others and your environment. It's the place to be.
So, I've worked with people, oftentimes it's mothers, women, mothers, more than men or fathers, but it can be both. But I've often worked with them where they say, I need to focus on my children and I need to focus on my family. I need to provide from them. And that just, it drives me crazy because I see so many people putting themselves last, not even second or third, but last, and they aren't seeing that being selfish is actually coming from a place of self-love.
How did you handle that when you had 2 kids, though, Christine? I mean, that is a very charged conversation for a lot of mothers.
It is,
especially when they have children that are so young.
Right. Well, it was. I can tell you that I didn't know it off the top, right? And I learned usually when I got to a place where I was completely spent, physically, emotionally spent. And I then knew that if something were to happen where my children needed me or, I wasn't able to function as far as, taking care of them or putting food on the table or whatever, that was going to be even worse. And so I needed to start listening to my body. I needed to start listening to my heart. I needed to start listening to what was calling me forth because I couldn't be a whole person for them if I was showing up half empty.
Right.
And that, it did, just like you were talking about earlier, it came through experiences and some experiences that were not positive.
Right.
But they were blessings because they had me become aware of if I'm showing up half empty or half present in my desires, in my following my dreams and goals and things that made me happy, my children would pick up on that and they would begin to model that. And you know what? I maybe wasn't initially being 100% selfish because I was more concerned with them modeling that. Kind of a backwards way of kicking me forward.
So here's a really interesting quote that I think is going to really point to what you're saying. And it says, loving yourself does not mean being self-absorbed or narcissistic or disregarding others. Rather, it means welcoming yourself as the most honored guest in your own heart, a guest worthy of respect, a lovable companion.
Oh, Joanne, that is so beautiful.
Yeah, isn't that great?
It's beautiful. I'd love to post that up on our on our page. We have a question from Susan, and Susan says, how do we begin observing with love rather than judging ourselves and others?
Yeah, big question. How do you start observing with love? The one thing that comes to me when that question is being made is this. When we recognize that we are divine and we recognize that others who show up in our lives are that too, no matter how much they trigger us, aside from all of the triggering that they do for us, and they are part of that divinity as well, that's when we are able to access something that sees their essence. It's really about not noticing what they're saying or what they're doing. It's really noticing their essence. It's really sort of feeling into the truth of who they are. Does that make any sense?
Yes, it does. So how do we, when they're triggering us, how do we stay out of judgment?
Yeah, that's a big question. How do we stay out of judgment? Well, here's what I do. I sort of take a few steps back and take a couple of deep breaths. And I ask myself, what is this mirroring for me? What is this showing me about what I'm putting into this space here? Because really, if we were to look at our world as everything is here for our learning, then it's so much easier to look at that opportunity as a catalyst for our growth.
Yes.
And, that's sort of what I have to say about that. Does that sound too big though? I know that people really like sort of step-by-step things. So I'm not sure whether that's too general and there's something needs to be a little bit more specific around that.
I'm sure that there is more with her question. I'm sure there's lots more that you could go into.
Yeah.
One of the things that has been inspiring me of recent, that maybe will speak to this as well, is knowing that I made a contract with this person. If this is a pretty significant person in your life, knowing that I made a contract with them before we came, and asking them, I have this conversation that goes on in my mind, and I see myself, and I know this person will probably never be listening to my show, so I'm pretty safe to say this.
Oh gosh.
And
spill it.
I'm going to deny that is my voice. But I have this visual in my mind, and this might help some of our listeners out there too. I have this visual that I was in heaven and I said, I want to go down to earth and I want to learn about self-love. Mm-hmm. And I want to then be able to inspire others to self-love. And I asked somebody that was in my classroom if he would be my husband and he would come in and be a co-creator in creating chaos so that I could reach for more love. Mm. And this person said yes, and he's now my ex-husband.
Right. So what do you...
So now I don't walk into that. I don't have a close relationship with him. However, I can step back and see him as a brilliant co-creator in where I am today. Mm-hmm. And that has me be with him in a different way.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And so here's what I sort of want to articulate around that. And that is, when relationships fail, because they do, and that's what happens like everything else, right? Let's reframe it and say, the growth it's done. Like it's achieved its status or its balance. Mm-hmm. So let's find more growth. Like, we are here to grow. We are here to grow. That is what we signed up for. Mm-hmm. And let us, let the most powerful relationship be the one with yourself.
Right. Right. We have another question, Joanne. A gentleman by the name of Drew says, as a professional matchmaker, I have many clients who come from a place of desperation or negativity when seeking love. What kind of conversation do you think I could have with these clients to really get them to look at or see their situation differently and to help them realize a new way to see how love could happen? Brilliant question. Thank you, Drew.
Really brilliant. Thank you, Drew. I know Drew. Thank you for your question, Drew. Well, can you read that question back to me again? There was a lot of words around it. What's the essence of that question, Christine?
Is it how can he help his clients to see their situations differently instead of desperate? Mm-hmm.
Yes. Let me see here. What's coming to me is this notion again about the unworthiness and how much they are clinging on to the belief that they are unworthy. So when we come from the place of, I want a relationship, well, what does that sound like? It sounds like, well, I want a relationship because I really don't have one now and I'm in lack of it. So there's something around here. I mean, Drew, if I were you, I would really want to look at the conversations that you're having with them and say, let's talk about the place of abundance that you want to create this relationship from. What will it look like to be the most ideal scenario for you? And that almost eradicates desperation, or, the word desperation is so loaded, but it almost eradicates the lack of mentality. And that's what I'm really wanting to bring home in this show tonight is like, just be really mindful about the way that you're thinking and what you're saying, what comes out of your mouth. And, you know, ask yourself, is it coming from lack because I don't have it and I'll die if I don't have it? Or is it coming from this place of, I know it's coming to me. I know I'm going to have it, and I know it's going to come to me when I'm completely ready for it.
Okay. You know, when I am working with clients around something like this, it could be a relationship, it could be a job. Having them get into the vibration and utilizing the tools of the law of attraction, having them get into the vibration of already being there.
Yes.
Of already, you know, the law of attraction, we've heard lots about it, but I equate it like this. We pick up the phone and we place an order with the universe. We place an order with the universe, and the universe says, order received, right? Order received. And they go to start packing it up and shipping the package to us. And the gasoline that decides how quickly it gets to us is our way of being in expectation of that package. So if we begin to say, oh, it's not coming, or it's never going to happen, and we vibrate from the place of not even loving ourselves, then it's like a vehicle that starts to go down the road and it stalls and it's stuck on the side of the road. And the universe says, we can't get it to you because we need your vibration to put that's the gasoline for this package.
And isn't that a beautiful gift that the universe is saying, well, sharpen up the energy around this, you know, get both of your feet into this land of commitment. If you really want this, let your body, your mind, your heart speak it.
Right. And back to Drew's question, to people that are wanting love, I really, really, really challenge them to be in the vibration and to be in a loving relationship with themselves. If they want romance, dress romantically for yourself. Eat from your best china with your best crystal. Go out and buy yourself the best wine you've ever purchased and enjoy that. Put on some music. Create the energy of romance because like attracts like. And when we are coming from that place of loving ourselves and honoring ourselves enough to buy ourselves flowers, enough to buy ourselves something special, man or woman, we are going to be in the vibration of it. Then it's going to be noticed.
I love it. I love it. Let's not forget though too that there is this need to have fun. You know, let's just have fun with our existence on this planet. And if part of that requires, or, you know, a desire in you to have a relationship, then come from the place of fun. Come from the place of, you know, let everything just fall into my lap and let's have fun with this. Let's just have fun.
Right. We have a caller on the line. Claudia, are you with us?
Oh, yes, and I listen. Such a great information. In part, I'm doing almost all of it. I say almost because I wouldn't call if I have everything that I'm looking for. So I need your guidance and a little bit of, you know, what you can tell me. I ended a very long relationship. I'm not that young anymore, but I'm very ready to enjoy the next chapter of my life. What type of advice you'd give and guidance to someone in my situation who I don't know how to date anymore. However, I will follow my heart.
Maybe I should hook you up with Drew, Claudia.
Why not?
That's awesome.
Yes.
So what would you say, Joanne, to someone who is living the blossoming stages of their life? How do they bring love in?
So what I really want to say to you, Claudia, is you've had experience now. You know what doesn't work for you. And you know now, based on what doesn't work for you, what you do want. And it's as simple as getting very clear on what you want with respect to what you haven't had. So create a list of things that you didn't have but are important for you, that you now need and want in your next relationship or in your next, journey, your next sort of cycle of this journey. And when we put emphasis on what it is that we do want, we're sending out messages into the universe saying, okay, I am ready for this. This is important to me. I'm going to line myself up with this and just watch it happen. And the important thing is to focus on what you want, not what you don't want. That's sort of the key that I really want to put some focus on. Yeah.
And have fun. Like Joanne was saying, Claudia, have fun, have fun, have fun. Because fun people are attractive, fun people are confident, and fun people put out the energy of acceptance, and very little judgment is in play. It's when you really are operating from your spirit.
I almost feel like when you have fun, things get created faster too.
They do.
Yeah.
They do. Well, you and I have had lots of fun conversations, and we seem to come out with some amazing creative ideas when we are playing.
Absolutely.
And I just think, we've made things so challenging, so difficult for ourselves, is that, if we would step back and we would allow some of that getting serious to drop away and play and have a little more fun, what else could we get in?
Exactly. What else is possible?
Christine and Joanne, I want to thank you, and I want to ask you just to seal the deal, to have me hope or dream even better to my next chapter. Do you have any messages for me that related to this? Any near or any immediate?
I do. Believe that you're worthy. Believe that you are worthy of an even better chapter in your life. Don't hope for it. Believe it.
Yeah.
Everything is possible.
Okay.
But it requires you to step into the believing.
Excellent.
Thank you so much for calling in.
Thank you, Claudia. I'll hook you up with Drew.
You are so funny. What a beautiful thing to know that we are getting to that stage of our life, and still there's so much that is possible. There's nobody says this is when it can begin and this is when it has to end. It really is up to each and every one of us to make that decision as to what we are going to accept and allow ourselves to accept.
It's like what Abraham Hicks says, we are never done. And hallelujah that we're never done, because we can add more to our buffet.
Yeah, how much fun will that be?
Yeah,
what else is possible?
What else is possible?
There's so many things that we want to share, and Joanne and I both are driven with passion in what we do and feel very, very blessed to be able to do that. Joanne is going to be gifting our 3 questionnaires. Is that the right word? 3 individuals who ask questions. I just made up a new word. And with these wonderful gifts, so we'll be pulling those and letting them know what they have won. Thank you so much for participating in the call today. And Joanne, as always, you are a brilliant co-creator in fun and leading the charge on teaching people how to be in the vibration of love so we can bring more of that to the world. Joanne can be reached at joannedelcore.com. Jump over to our Facebook page. We'll have her information there. Joanne, I also want to put up that beautiful quote that you shared with our listeners so they can have that for themselves as well. And if you would like to connect with me, it's Christine at inspiredchoices.ca. And from that, from both of our websites, you can see the brilliant work that we are doing and we're passionate about continuing to do. Who knows, Joanne, we might be dancing on the show together again in the future.
Who knows? I just want to give you sort of some airtime here and really acknowledge how much of a mover and shaker that you are on this planet. I am so thrilled to be taking up space with you on this planet because you make it happen. You are multitasker extraordinaire, but you have such an incredible way of living so heartfeltly, and I know that you're always, 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 always in love. Always, always. And I just love and adore you to bits.
Yeah, we do. We really do have a love affair going on, and we have relationships outside of our own. We do vibrate in a very similar place, so it's always juicy when Joanne and I are dancing together. It's brilliant, and I'm sure lots of our listeners have people like that in your lives. Connect more with them because they fill you up, and they have you step into your real authentic place, and that's what love is about, is being in your authentic place. Join me next week when we will have a wonderful guest by the name of Corey Michelle, and the topic is living your juicy life. You will not want to miss it. This is going to be a beautiful show in follow-up to the Love Show with Joanne, the Love Bug, and I'm very grateful for all the listeners. If you have any questions, anything that you would like to talk about on the show, email me, Christine@inspiredchoices.ca, and jump over to the conversation on Facebook. We're having lots of fun there. So all the very best to everyone. Happy Easter.
Yes,
and I hope the bunny comes for everybody. And for all my girlfriends, you know what the bunny means. And Joanne.